grate me in the mouth. Yes.
Okay. I absolutely love Miley Cyrus.
That was the sickest snipe ever.
Hey. No. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Call Guys podcast. I'm Gunner, also known as Chico Noise, two-time podcast host, connoisseur of Bang energy drinks, and somewhere in the top 1 million on the Mario Kart leaderboard.
Oh my gosh. That's
I knew you'd like that because
so the only time I've ever actually checked to be ranked in anything was back in Call of Duty Ghost.
yeah.
There was a mode that they only played for that game, and I got top 100, like legit top 100. Like I'd go to sleep, I'd be top 100, I'd wake up, I'd be like top 300, and then I'd grind for like 4 or 5 hours that night just to get back in the top 100. I did that for like 2 weeks, and I was like, this is a waste of time.
I'll tell you what, I've never been ranked in anything, and I'm not upset about it because I know I am subpar at video games, and the Flying V Squad carried me through everything we ever played. Yeah,
I think we need to reassess that carry of the whole Flying V games. It was Jared and Lucas who
That's true.
carried us.
That's true. Going back and watching some of those videos from back then and seeing like, oh my gosh, me and you, we were just so terrible at Fortnite. At Fortnite in general, just
So bad.
We were so bad. They would carry the team, they'd get all the kills, and we'd be like, all right, they're carrying us, we're getting all these dubs.
here for the revives.
But for some reason, when you and I played together, we'd do pretty well. And
yeah, I don't remember a bunch of wins, but I do remember at least like getting kills and being like, man, I'm glad Lucas isn't here to steal this kill.
Yeah, because he would too. He'd be right on top of it, just taking them all. Them all.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wanted to bring up Mario Kart because I know you just bought a Switch.
And I did. Team Switch.
Yeah.
Along with other teams.
I've had mine since the start of COVID. And I actually got mine the day before everything closed down. So we went out to dinner with a bunch of friends. And this was before, like, we knew things were going to start shutting down and the whole toilet paper fiasco of 2020 or whatever it was going on. Yeah. And we went to like 4 stores looking for Switches and they were all bought out. Like we couldn't find one anywhere. And I went out the next day to GameStop with Sarah and we found one. And I'm pretty sure it was the last one they had. So I've had my Switch for pretty much 2 years. And man, I love that thing. I love playing the Switch. It is one of those things that I never had a PSP or anything like that growing up. I had Game Boys, but the Switch is just like the whole next level of that. And I was glad when you bought one because I knew how fun it was. I know you asked me a lot of questions when you bought yours and just to kind of figure out if it was going to be worth it or not. So
yeah, I think that was always my biggest issue with it. I'm a big Mario fan. Like if I would love for like Microsoft, even Sony to buy the rights to Mario. Because I feel like that's the only thing that really holds Nintendo up. I'm sure there's going to be at least one person who's like diehard Nintendo is going to be like, that's not true. There's this. There's other franchises, but I mean, let's be honest. It's Mario that keeps Nintendo afloat.
Yeah. And Pokemon.
Yeah, but
Pokemon's
I mean,
up there.
It could be. So, but yeah, I did a lot of research on it. I wanted something that I could play not only by myself but with my wife and with my kid eventually when the time comes.
Yeah.
But my wife and we play a lot of Mario Party.
Yeah.
And she is pretty much fed up with me and my shenanigans in that game.
Just need to let her win a couple times, get her feeling good. And
I get that competitiveness in me a little bit. And then there was one time I legit thought I was going to lose. She was down or she was up 2 stars on me. And bonus comes out, the bonus stars come out, and it's like the 2 most random bonus stars you can get, and I got them. I even tied with somebody else, not with her, but with another computer character, both times, and then it came down to coin count, and I had like 150 coins.
So you got that one.
So I got that way.
Dang.
We haven't played since then, and I don't know if she ever will again.
Yeah. Hey.
I'm sorry.
A dub is a dub. No, I had a lot of fun. What was that? A couple weeks ago, we played online together,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
other
2 weekends ago. Yeah,
other than getting kicked from the lobby towards the end of the game when we were like 5 turns away, and
yeah.
one of us got kicked, and it's like, oh, well, that was a waste. And I noticed it because your turn came up. You were Yoshi, I think, right?
I was Yoshi, and I had 2 golden tubes.
Yeah, yeah. You had the win in the bag for sure, but your turn came up and it went by so fast. Like it was like the computers, how they hit the cube. It's like they just go through the turn so quickly. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, that wasn't like Colton. And then we're talking, and you guys are like a turn ahead of us, and I'm like, they're already in a mini game. How is this happening? So yeah, it was frustrating, but it was super fun, and I think we need to do more of that, even whether it's
Oh
Mario
yeah.
Mario Kart or Mario Party or
Yeah, I was talking to Sid and Lucas after church Sunday, and we were talking about how we should get together for like an actual like Mario Kart race
yeah,
with everybody. That would be kind of fun.
yeah, that would be a blast online or like actually go to
Like
somebody's
on
house.
like online. Well, I mean, if we could pull that off, I mean, we got the kids, so I mean, we just have to figure out those logistics with him.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, online would probably work best. But if we could all get together, that'd be even better. That'd be more fun.
yeah, all in the same house. And I know you can only do what, 4 screens or 4 players on a screen, but if we're all
I think
playing,
four on a screen. I mean, if we do it at my house, I've got 2 decently sized TVs that we could
yeah,
figure it out.
oh, we could always bring one too and just have an extra one with us. And I know Jared also got a Switch, so I mean, all 4 of us have a Switch. We might as well just start doing Flying V games through
We
Nintendo Switch games,
should.
'cause,
Oh my gosh,
yeah, we could grind out some Mario Party, all 4 of us. That'd be a good time.
that would be a good time. I would definitely enjoy that.
Yeah,
I do miss the Flying V game days, like the early days of it. Those were some good days.
yeah, yeah. We spent a lot of time playing. I mean, a lot of time playing. I don't think there was a moment in college where I wasn't playing video games when I wasn't in class, besides eating and sleeping. Like it was so constant. But
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the only thing I played was like Call of Duty Zombies and Fortnite.
yeah, yep, yep. And when you were playing, if we got on and you were playing zombies, it was like, all right, let me finish this out, and then we'd be playing Fortnite for
Yep.
hours. Actually, for those of you who don't know, Fortnite came out with a no build mode, and it's actually pretty fun. So if you want to go back to kind of old Fortnite, and there was building originally when we first started playing, I'm pretty sure, like our
Hmm.
first couple
Yeah.
months into it, but it kind of brings that good feel back to it. Like you're actually trying to play the game with that, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Strategy, I guess. You
I
you
mean,
want a little bit more strategy.
I think the beauty of it is that you don't have to put 50 hours of building into that game in order to
Mhm.
at least,
Compete.
compete. And I think that's the most frustrating thing with, our age demographic is that we don't have that time
Yeah.
to put in for that. So, I mean, I like the Fortnite. I liked Fortnite. I mean, I like Fortnite better than the mechanics of Fortnite over Call of Duty just cuz it just seems more fun
Yeah.
and there's a lot more stuff you can do. But the building is just so frustrating. It's not worth it. I'd rather go get ticked off playing Call of Duty than playing Fortnite because at Fortnite I'm not just struggling like against other people. I'm struggling against myself, and that's even worse
Yeah.
than just getting tried on by a sweat. So
And there's plenty of those.
yes,
Plenty
in
of those.
in both games.
So the other, how did March Madness go for you last week? I know we talked about it, but we never really got into anything. I don't watch the tournament as much as I know you do. So
Yes,
uh,
I do know this.
yeah,
Unfortunately, I wish we could like sit down and like actually have some good conversations about it.
yeah,
I'll say this: the final 4 teams, it's the 4 teams that have earned the right to be there. I think it's
right
the
on.
4 best teams that are playing right now who are in the tournament. And I honestly think whoever wins the Duke North Carolina game is going to win the whole thing. Villanova likes to slow it down and keep the score low. Kansas wants to score 80 on you. I
Yeah,
think that one's good. I think that'll be a good game, but the dudes they have at Duke in North Carolina, they're not college kids. These are grown men that they got on that team. Like they're not small. They're built they're built for it. So
They spend a lot of time in the weight room.
yeah, not in the classroom, obviously,
Yeah.
but uh,
Oh.
anywho, but yeah, no, let's see, my family bracket on my wife's side, we do a trophy,
Mhm.
and our brackets were so bad that we knew who won before the last game on Saturday night on opening weekend. That's how bad our brackets were.
Was it you?
I'm two-time champ now, so I'm just also going to refer to myself as two-time
Two-time,
two-time
two-time,
champ.
two-time champ.
Yeah, that was that was the only bracket I did somewhat well in. Um, my wife and I do one, but we do it for whoever loses has to plan a date night at some point in time. So now I got
Nice.
to plan it. Now I got to plan a date night. So put in the comments what I should do for date night.
There you go. There you go. That's good. Um, yeah. So we're talking about Star Wars today, and it'll be a little bit before we talk about it because I have a surprise for you.
Oh
Um,
my
yeah,
gosh.
which will come here in a little bit, and that's why I told you that I wanted to take a little break once we get done with this.
All
So
right, all right.
you know what this is, and most of our listeners actually really enjoy this little segment that we've come up with here. It is called the question of the episode.
Ooh. Dun dun dun.
So once again, this is one that Sarah came up with.
Of course.
Yeah, she's been spitting them out. It's like they just keep coming. It's like a long receipt at the grocery store. It just like keeps coming out. So I'm sure there's going to be plenty more of these coming from her. And most of the time they're pretty good. Sometimes they're like,
Okay.
maybe.
All
So here you
right.
go. The question of the episode. If location and money didn't matter, what job would you want and why?
Great question, Sarah.
She'll thank you for that, I'm sure.
You're welcome. um uh man. I think I would like to be a greenskeeper at St. Andrews. It's a golf course in man, I can't Scotland or somewhere around there. One of the
Right
islands.
on.
It's one of the first original courses. It's a beautiful old-timey course, and to be the greenskeeper there, I think would be really, really cool. Just to kind of hold up that nostalgia. Um,
I'm ass-
hours are probably pretty good, so
I'm assuming it's a beautiful course, just in general.
yeah, yeah. They
Well
ho- they
kept.
hold they hold a gosh, I can't think of it. It's a really big tournament there. The Open, I think it's the Open, or the Open is traveled around. I don't know, man. I'm gonna sound. Hopefully, there's some golf people on here that help me out here, but I'm having a brain fart right now of because I know they got the U.S. Open, and I don't know if they just call it the Open or what they call it. I can't think of it right now. I think it's the Cleric Jug is the trophy though, but I'm probably wrong on that. Um,
Hey, it's all good.
yeah, I think that would be kind of like a dream job to me. So what
That's
what
good.
what?
That's good. I know you played golf. Did you play golf in high school?
Yeah, I
I
played.
thought so. I thought so.
Yeah, I tried to play baseball, but I was told I wanted to try pitching because I always thought I might be good at it.
Hmm.
I was told that was out of the question and they were gonna stick me on third base, and I was like, you know what? I don't think I want to do that. so so I went to golf practice the next week, borrowed a set of clubs from a coach, and over a 2-day period I shot 2 over. And I was like,
Nice.
I must be pretty good at this thing called golf. So let's do that. So I picked up golf clubs and I played golf ever since.
Nice. Yeah, I just recently picked up golf, and I am not good. So
And that's usually what happens. You probably got a
yeah,
lot of baseball in your swing.
yeah, I do. I'm from playing baseball most of my life. I mean, I skipped a couple of years in there, but when it came to high school, played my senior year, and yeah, I just have that. I mean, I can occasionally hit a decent drive, and my short game's not terrible. Um, Darren's giving me a lot of pointers. We go out and play mostly, just because I like to get
Now,
out on the course.
I do remember the Darren days of high school golf, and there could be other people you could choose to help with said lessons.
I said he gives me
Look,
pointers, not full on lessons.
I love you, Darren.
Yeah, I
And
really
like,
hope.
fun fact with Darren is he's actually in the championship game of my fantasy basketball league
Mm,
this week,
nice.
and good luck to them too, because I'm mad. I lost by like 3 or 4 points this week, and I should be in the championship game. It's BS. I'm not gonna stand for it.
Did you play Darren in the last game?
No, I did not.
Oh, I was gonna say.
Darren was afraid of me. He was on the other side of the bracket. He knew he didn't want to be
Gotcha.
on my side. He
Yeah.
rigged it that way. I know he did. There's
It's
a lot
your
of collusion. There's a
it's
lot of
your league.
collusion. I know.
It's your
I know.
league.
There's a lot of collusion in my league. A lot of guys, a lot
Yeah.
of people like to rig games and not be on my side of the bracket, or they don't want to play a certain guy. So they're like, "Oh, I think I need to lose the next 2 weeks." And
Yeah, just empty roster. Oh man, oh man, oh man. Oh, I should probably answer the question of the
yeah,
episode.
you answer. Yeah.
Um, you know, I've always wanted to be a director, and I would love to live in California. Ocean view house, just out in California, traveling to the studio every day and shooting movies. That would just be my dream job. So, and it's always been my dream job. So I guess to me, it's not really a kind of out of nowhere question. It's something I've thought about. But yeah, and to make good movies would be the thing, and they would have to all be good.
I feel like you would thrive in like B-rated films. Like I just feel like you would do so well with that genre. That it's super corny, and I just feel like you would do like a great job of like making up like this made up storyline, like
Yeah.
like the Sharknado series. Like I feel like you could do something like that.
I spent a lot of time in college making those horrible B-rated YouTube videos, but some of those were good, no matter what anybody says. So
I still like the originals, man.
yeah, the originals from high school, junior, senior year of high school. Yeah, those were fun too.
Dude, I see you got I see you've got a shelf behind your head now. I see. Is that your boy Mahomie?
Uh-huh.
I don't know who the one behind is. That Monopoly Fortnite? I see.
Yeah, it is.
Talk about a craze.
Yeah, I got that. The second Funko up there is All Might from My Hero Academia, which is I'm not into anime to the level I know some people are, and my brother is super into it, but that one really caught my attention. A lot of cool characters, and it's all about superheroes. Well,
Okay.
they're kids that go to a superhero high school that have powers called quirks, and it's a cool take on super people. I mean, it's really interesting. And then next to that, there's like a darker thing up there. That's actually a really, really old time camera that I got. I think it was my grandpa's camera actually. My uncle gave it to me. So, and then Fortnite Monopoly, and I have both. I have both versions of Fortnite Monopoly. I just have the one up there. So just
I did not know there were two versions. So
there's the original, and then that's like season 2 or something. Like when they switched off seasons. I'm sure there's more out there.
I'm sure you should probably get them all so you can collect them.
I think you're right. I'm gonna work on that.
Should.
I'll get back with you on that one. I'll just have them
You're
all plastered up on the wall. I'm getting rid of the posters. It's just gonna be Fortnite Monopoly on the wall. So yeah, for those of you that watch on YouTube or haven't watched on YouTube, even if you really look at our backgrounds, go check it out. Colton's got some really cool vinyls behind him. He's got the Guardians of the Galaxy vinyl, which I was gonna mention last episode while we were talking because you mentioned how much you love the soundtrack.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually both. It's actually both movies.
Okay.
It's like a deluxe vinyl.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, and then he's got Marvel stuff up there too. So.
Yeah, I've got all three. I got the first 3 phases, and they're separated by Marvel Funkos. I think one is a bearded Captain America, Groot, and Black Panther.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
I probably got to get another one here for Phase 4, and I'm thinking Doctor Strange would be a good one, but I don't
Oh
know. We'll
yeah.
see.
Yeah. Yeah. Colton's got this killer man cave down in his basement. It is such a fun place to just hang out. It really is. Pool table, open wet bar. There's a wet bar down there,
Yeah.
and just this really nice bookshelf and cool decorations and a nice little area to sit down. So me, on the other hand, I'm in my guest room and I've got my movie posters and my Funko Pops.
Is your sister still there?
Yes, yes, but she's not in here.
But that's her room though, right?
Yep, you know it. It's my office with a couch in it that turns into a bed for her. So it works. It all works out.
That's sweet of you.
What did my dad say? I'm harboring a sister.
Harboring a sister. I like that.
Yep. And I said people might think that's weird. I have a nun in my house, but oh man, that's good stuff. So yeah, we're gonna talk about Star Wars today, and we're gonna go through pretty much every era of Star Wars, from the prequels to the shows to Book of Boba, and then on to Obi-Wan coming out. But I have a surprise for Colton.
Okay.
So we're gonna take a little hiatus here for a second, which is gonna transition right into what we're gonna be talking about. So yeah, we'll be right back.
Movie magic.
I'll let you finish your pickle.
I'm Christopher Clayton.
We got Boba Fett. There's your surprise. Boba Fett's here, and Boba Fett wants to talk to you and talk with me about some Star Wars.
Preferably without any Vespa riding kids around.
Yeah, on there. Those Vespas. They weren't called Vespas. What were they called?
Speeders.
They were just speeders.
Yeah.
Right on. Right on.
I think they recognize better as Vespas.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah. All right, Boba. Take the helmet off.
Okay. Well, I mean, he didn't wear it a lot in the new show, so I don't have to wear it a lot either then, right? Like
Yep.
that's how that works.
Yeah, I think so.
Let me tilt that a little bit.
There you go. All right, Colton. This is my buddy Chris Clayton.
Sup, Chris?
Nice to meet you.
Nice
I've
to
heard a
meet
lot
you.
about the call guy. So
Oh geez, yeah, the other call guy. Man, you got some Mandalorian stuff in there. So you got the helmet too, so that really shows the dedication to not only the character but to the series.
yeah, so that those are actually permitted to hang in the living room. That's
I know what you mean.
no, my wife digs the stuff too. She likes Star Wars a lot.
That helps.
Here, I'm gonna mess with this light a little bit. It's
My wife, on the other hand, does not.
Mine's the same, so it's okay.
So
yeah, my wife digs Star Wars pretty well. It's not her favorite series, but she's into it.
That's good.
So I got a good Star Wars story. So I think it was our first Christmas here in Fort Wayne, and it was right at the time when the last Star Wars movie came out, and it came out on Christmas, all that fun stuff. Well, I made plans to go see this movie with some buddies, and I forgot to tell her until like morning of Christmas. I tell her, hey, I'm gonna go see this Star Wars movie, and so she's a nurse, and she was supposed to work. So I was like, yeah, no big deal. Like, don't worry about it. Well, of course, 2 hours before she goes in, she's like, yeah, I'm not going to work. And I was like, and then for the next 3 hours, the next 2 hours, she's like, so you going to see Star Wars? You going to see Star Wars? And I'm like, yes, I am.
Yeah.
Good times.
So that would consist of a Christmas special. You right? I know you guys debated that in the last one. What makes a Christmas special? But I mean, that would make a good one, right? You get you try to get to the movie theater, like send your wife out on an errand, it's some time to go see a movie, and
My wife ain't buying that.
That would have to be the world's longest errand. Hey, 3-hour grocery trip. Go.
Yeah.
So like I said, this is Chris. Chris, this is Colton. Glad to introduce you guys. Chris listens to the podcast usually
nice.
usually while he's working, and he messages me different things about like what he thinks and his opinions and like different
That's
things like
awesome.
that, which is
That's
super
awesome.
fun. It's super fun. I told him today it felt like I was in a live stream because it was like I was getting all this feedback as he was listening to it. So that was really cool. And
That's awesome.
it's cool to hear his thoughts too. And we're sitting there talking this morning, and I said, we're going to cover Star Wars tonight. And he goes, I would love to be on a Star Wars episode. And I was like, all right, you got a mic? He's like, yeah, I have a Yeti Blue or a Blue Yeti.
Well, hold on. How it went was you want to be, Gunnar was like, you want to be a guest sometime, right? You said that. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, well, we're talking about Star Wars tonight. And because he knows Star Wars is kind of like, that's probably my main fandom.
Okay.
Like I love comics, I love superheroes, all that stuff. We all love nerddom. Nowadays it's mainstream and it's fun and it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep messing with my audio, so if I'm kind of distracted, I'm trying to get the speakers a little bit.
There's not a basketball game on, so I think we're okay. You won't be worse
100%.
than that. You won't be worse than that, I promise.
But yeah, there have been many conversations. Gunnar and I both love film. I know you do too. So I know we're all kind of cinephiles and we all enjoy that.
Yes.
And we've had many a discussion about Star Wars lately and the new series they've been doing. As Boba Fett was on, we were, we'd come into work like the next day and be like, did you watch it? What'd you think of that one?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's so I was super pumped. I've always wanted to do a podcast. I've talked to some people. So getting to join you guys talking about something that we all are interested in, I was like, yeah, that'd be cool.
All right.
I think that's what makes these things fun is when you get, because Christopher, I've never met you, but we both have the same love of movies and Star Wars. So it might not be to the same level, but we both have really high appreciations for it. I think that's what I'm excited about for this podcast, is to get to do these opportunities with people that I don't know, or I don't know that they're big Star Wars fans. So I'm excited to I'm just excited to learn and to talk about it, and just see where we all stand on this. So
you're gonna learn.
Oh, no.
You're gonna learn.
Is this like an MCU time travel episode, only Star Wars related?
Maybe
Didn't bring our quantum suits.
Oh my gosh, I should have my shirt on. Oh man. All right, Chris, before we get into Star Wars, you know what you have to do. You got to answer the question of the episode.
That's
Question
right.
of the podcast.
Are you ready?
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Maybe.
If location and money didn't matter, what job would you want and why?
Oh man, when I do job interviews at work, I ask this question.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I always ask people what their dream job would be. Oh man. So for me personally, the journey I've been on the last several years, location and money doesn't matter. I could do whatever.
Yep.
I would probably pursue some form of writing, maybe tied in with either some kind of speaking gig or something like that. I would love to get a book out there, or play, if that would ever be a thing. But yeah, I love to write, and it'd be awesome if I could live somewhere rural, like mountainous, woods, things like that. Kind of have a cabin, have my family out there. Right, that would be awesome. I would love that.
That's a good one. I like
The
it.
hills aren't doing for you.
What hills? I actually got to live in Maine for a year. That was cool.
Oh, wow.
And once you live somewhere like that, it's like it makes you realize like how great some of that kind of country is, So yeah.
When we were looking at our honeymoon destination, after we had talked about you living in Maine, I told Sarah I wanted to go to Maine. Like I was so excited because you said how beautiful it was, and I was like, Maine would be fun. Instead, we ended up on a beach in Florida. So that's how that goes.
Yeah, it's only the polar opposite.
Exactly. Exactly.
One day, man, during the fall, preferably. It looks awesome.
I bet.
Hey,
yeah.
I have a question for you two, since we're going to talk about Star Wars. Okay,
All right.
I'd love to
my
know your
gosh.
opinions on this.
Oh my
So-
gosh.
So Disney having Star Wars now and kind of seeing, they did their trilogy, much to most people's, I would say, lack of fanfare. I would say as a whole, they weren't widely received well. They were more criticized than traditional Star Wars films had been. You have the prequels, but even still, I would say most people kind of put those even ahead of the new movies. But even so, and Disney's done some cool ones. Rogue One was good. Solo was fun. It was flawed, but it was fun. And now they're doing all of this awesome stuff on Disney Plus. We've gotten to see Mando season 1 and 2. We have the Bad Batch. There's a new animated series coming out that they haven't announced. The composer for it talked about it, but he didn't say anything other than it's a big project. They have Ahsoka. We have Kenobi.
Yeah.
Like, we have all this cool stuff. And so far, it's all been pretty cool. Even for the ups and downs of the Book of Boba Fett, in the end, I think most people enjoyed watching it as a whole. I know that it's kind of divisive as far as, like, some fans loved it, some hated it, whatever.
Yeah.
But so for you two, being people who love the theater, do you want to see Disney pursue doing more films? Or do you think the direction that it's at right now, having more series, is the better way for them to go?
I'll start this one out. 'Cause
Yeah, I was
know
gonna let
Gunner-
you take it.
Yeah, you probably need to think of something. I've always got stuff in the chamber. So.
I know you do.
Always. Oh my gosh.
The magic of filmmaking.
Oh my gosh. So we've actually talked about this when it comes to, like, the MCU. I know personally, I like the movies, and then I like the series to elaborate on those characters and on those people. So I would think, to me, as long as they have, a real universe planned out, like if they've got 1 or 2 movies planned out, then that way they can introduce these people into TV shows, and go from there. And then that way, when he gets to the movie, you know how the character got to where they got in the movie. And then maybe the next season is about what happens to that character at the end of that movie. But if they don't have that, if they're not thinking that far ahead, I think they're doing a really, really good job with just doing the TV series. Because they're kind of going back to the well, because they did Bo, but now we're doing Kenobi. Next, heck, they could just do one with Mace Windu, him surviving the fall, and then make a series out of that. Like, as long as they have a plan, I'm okay with whatever they're into. So that's my biggest thing is, if there's no plan, no direction, I don't think they should try for it. But if they've got an idea to put these series with the movies and then piggyback off the movies with some series, I think they could do a really good job with Star Wars, because it is such a vast universe.
Oh yeah.
Man, you went in depth on that one.
Well, I'm sorry. I thought I was just answering the question.
No, it's good. So I like where they are with the shows. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't mind if that's all they did. I don't really care to see another trilogy of Star Wars movies. I wouldn't mind seeing some solo movies that would, like, not Han Solo movies, but like,
Rogue One and stuff.
yeah, just stuff like that. Like, these stories in between each era of Star Wars would be cool. But I think the shows are doing so well. I think that they could just stick with them. And I like the Disney era of Star Wars so far. I don't mind it. I think that it's good. I think everything that they put out is good. And Mandalorian is probably one of the best shows I've watched. And I know you really, really like all of the animated series, Chris. And
Oh yeah.
I know I want you to go in depth on some of those later, because you have a lot of theories on what's going to happen later, which is cool. But yeah, man, I think I just like where the shows are going. My dad would probably say he wants to see more Star Wars movies in the theater because he's always went and saw all the Star Wars movies in theater. And it's important. It is, but the shows, and you can watch them from home and you can discuss them, and you can discuss them weekly and actually have a good discussion. I I think that's where it needs to be at, and I think they need to stick with those shows from here on out, especially with Kenobi coming up in Ahsoka, and they're introducing these characters in other shows. So I mean, they're kind of doing what you were saying, Colton, where those characters get a background in a different show or maybe just a pop up, and then they're going to elaborate more on that in the shows, and I think that'll work really well. Kind of the same concept if they would just do a movie. Did that answer the question?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I just, it was something that came to me because of all the times we've talked about things. And like Colton, with what you said about them planning things, that's actually one of the biggest flaws with the new trilogy that was made. Like Daisy Ridley has come out and said like, yeah, they didn't have plans for these. They told her, you might be Kenobi's offspring. You might, we're not sure yet. When she went and filmed The Force Awakens, like she didn't even know her background, whereas like in the, I don't know if you've seen, but there's a great interview where Mark Hamill talks about being in Empire Strikes Back and George Lucas coming to him and being like, okay, hey, something. Vader's your dad. Okay. That's not in the script. The script said I had him yell in the fight on Cloud City at Bespin. The script had Darth Vader say, Obi-Wan killed your father. And that's when he yelled no. But Luke and Lucas were the only two people that knew what was actually the story. And because Vader, is dubbed later, he went back in post and put in "I'm your father," and Luke knew that, and that was his reaction. And so Mark Hamill's sitting in the theater next to Harrison Ford, and that scene comes up, and Harrison Ford turns and looks at him, and he goes, "You didn't effing tell me that." and it's a thing where even though George Lucas's original vision is very different than what came out, like if you ever see the old script or any of the comics that were made off of it, a lot got changed because he had a good team with him, but he still had a plan for this vision. And I think that's what really hurt the new films is like they didn't start with a plan. They kind of rolled with the punches. They went, oh, people didn't really like that it was a remake of A New Hope. And so now we're going to just kind of like cut Star Wars out and do our own thing. But then people like the hardcore fans felt like that was cheating Star Wars. And so then they were like, oh, let's just indulge all the fan theories that people are saying online. And even though those movies have some like great moments, they don't have like characters that earn those moments. And like, they didn't have that plot that felt like it was like carrying you through. And I feel like what Filoni, especially with Filoni and Favreau, what they've been doing with the Disney Plus shows, I mean, they heavily plan everything. They're looking at the movies that George Lucas was inspired by and then trying to come up with things from those.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I know it sounds like a crazy kind of rabbit hole you can chase on that, but but it's just crazy because like I would love, like, I love seeing Star Wars in theaters. When I was younger, the anniversary ones came out in the 90s, and my dad took me to see those. I watched the original trilogy re-released in the 90s. And I would love to see them do that again. I would love to see Disney just put out the originals again, just for like another generation of kids to go see them in theaters.
Remaster them again.
Maybe remaster them backwards a little, like take them a step. Maybe cut out a few of the dated CG now. And like, but I enjoy what they're doing on Disney Plus as well, and I love how it's tying into some of their animated stuff. But if they decided to do an interesting movie or like those kind of standalones, especially, I would definitely, I'm still going to go see it. I'm still going to go watch Star Wars when it comes out in the movie theater. Like, correct. I'm not going to miss that, so. Yeah,
exactly. I think that's important to a lot of the older generation too, is they, they saw those original movies, and when the prequels came out, when the new movies came out, they wanted to see them because it was their fandom. It was what they nerded out on back in the day.
Yeah, I
And
mean, that's why my dad took me.
Yeah, I told Chris this the other day. My grandma has a Star Wars room in her house. Like she has it's actually her bedroom now. She used to, but she has shelving full of Star Wars toys that she's collected over the years, and she has all the original, was it Pepsi cans from back when they
Oh,
came out,
yeah.
when the prequels came out?
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, she's just got, this room is loaded with Star Wars stuff, and most of it's because everybody has that one thing where if you tell somebody you like something, you just get it. Every holiday, every birthday, you're getting something
true.
from that. So it's just collected and collected. But she has most of the books too, which is really cool to see. Like just to go in and look at all the titles of all the books, and man, it is. You could probably stand there for an hour just looking around, and you find something new every time you're in there. So, but yeah, so I think we do this in kind of a timeline order. Kind of talk about the originals a little bit, talk about the prequels, and
So like
then
timeline of like release dates.
yeah, not
Okay.
not prequels, prequels, sequels,
Where
originals.
does the Old Republic game release fall in that? Do you know? It was the Xbox, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Yes.
What was that? Kotar? Kotar?
Can I
Knights of
be
the Old
honest?
Republic?
I'm so pumped. I want that remake that they're doing to be so good, so badly.
Yeah.
Uh,
My brother played Kot. He always called it Kotar, Knights of the Old
yeah, it's
Republic, right?
KOTOR, yeah.
Yeah, and he played that like crazy. But it was like a really cool game. I mean, you
BioWare.
influenced what happened. What you did made you a Jedi or a Sith, and you just went through the game. And yeah, it was super fun to watch him. I never played it. I just watched him play it. So
As a gamer, when they re-release it, you should try it out.
I will.
It's a great RPG.
I don't know. I'm totally in for Lego Star Wars. I'm just saying.
Oh, dude, April. What is it? April 4th, April 5th.
I think so.
coming up.
I'm so ready.
It's- Dude, I am too. Every time they show something new, I'm like, this is gonna make me laugh and just have a smile on my face the whole time I'm playing.
Yeah. Colton, you gonna get it?
I played Lego Star Wars once, and I'm just not a Lego guy. I can't get behind it. It's a tough game for me to be a part of.
Have you seen any of the gameplay of it though?
No,
Dude,
no, I haven't. Yeah, you go.
They've like revamped systems. There's like combos and counters with like melee attacks and like third person shooting and stuff. But it's still a Lego game. So if you don't like Lego games, you're probably,
Yeah,
it's
I
probably
think-
not
I
gonna
think-
sway you.
I think that's my biggest problem is that I played one Lego game, and I'm just like, maybe if I was 10 years younger.
But would you play Lego Jurassic Park?
No.
Don't lie to me. How many
Hey,
hours?
That's a thing. That's a thing.
Yeah. How many hours have you put into that game, Jurassic World Evolution?
Dude, too many hours.
Exactly.
I'm getting ready to just restart a park because I take 3 steps forward and 4 steps back, and I'm just getting nowhere with this thing. And it's the most frustrating thing in the world, and I'm just about ready to let my dinosaurs go and watch the lawyer bills rack up.
Oh man. We could rant about video games all day. I know we could.
Yeah, we probably could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's do it. Let's talk
Okay.
about the originals. What's your
What do you-
favorite? What's your favorite? What's your favorite of the originals?
I mean, almost everybody says Empire Strikes Back because like even like for film, it's such it was such like a landmark film to be a sequel that actually was considered to hold all the weight and like have all of the character development it had, and it was dark and it was tragic and it doesn't end on a positive note, and like it kind of set the tone for a lot of things that came after. When I was younger, it was Return of the Jedi because I loved watching Luke and Vader at showdown at the end. I love the whole Battle of Endor. Like, you get to see at the time biggest space battle ever done. You see, even though I was a kid, Ewoks weren't my favorite thing, but they didn't bother me. I know like the Ewoks to old school Star Wars fans are like Jar Jar Binks to newer Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean Empire definitely has a crazy feel. But I'm one of those people that it's like hard for me to say. I feel like all three of the movies bring something really unique.
Yeah.
Like the first one is more like a fantastical feel. I think that Star Wars feels like a space fantasy, you know, and like it has a very much more of like a knight princess like quest that they go on, and it's got like these interesting characters in a new world. But I mean, to say which one is probably the best of the three, it's probably Empire. But I hate saying that because it's so cliche. Because
Yeah.
like most people say Empire, but as a fan, as a kid growing up Star Wars, it was Return of the Jedi for me though. It was.
Colton.
I'd probably go with Return of the Jedi just for all the Battle of Endor, the end fight scene, seeing Anakin and not knowing who the heck that guy was.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I mean that's great points because honestly, Star Wars, this was like the first trilogy that I watched, and the music, I really, really love the music.
Oh, John Williams, yeah.
Yeah, and that's probably the first like composer I actually knew when like, hey, John Williams is doing this. Yes, it's gonna be great. Like I this is when I probably first started listening to the actual music in the movie and how it not only helps the movie, but it amplifies the scenes when it's used, and it lets you know like, hey, get ready, this is going to be a good, hold on, this is going to be great. So I think this was actually the first trilogy that I probably focused on the score of a movie. So but yeah, I'd probably go with Return of the Jedi because it answered a lot of questions, and it kind of quote unquote wrapped it up at the time, of course.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm gonna say the same. I'm gonna say Return of the Jedi. And I think it's the whole light and dark inside of Luke thing, and seeing him change throughout the whole movie, and then finally at the end he makes his final decision to say, this is how I'm going to be. And I think seeing a lot of the newer movies has given me a lot more respect for those older movies, just because even though when were they released? The
77, I think, is when
Yeah.
the first one came out.
yeah. And how well they could tell a story back then out of nothing, because Star Wars was nothing. And yeah, Return of the Jedi for sure, 100%.
I also, not to stretch this part out, but I love in Return of the Jedi because you mentioned Luke. I love that his whole goal though is trying to reach his father. Like he surrenders himself. He, like, even though he kind of has that struggle, because ultimately it's not that he wants to turn to the dark side, but he knows that he's meant to be like at his dad's side.
Yeah.
And like I just love that. I love how he never gives up on him, like even though he's Darth Vader. Like he's the dude that walks on screen and everybody goes, "Oh no."
Especially in that Rogue One scene.
Dude, that's like, oh, Tony, I love that, man. I love that scene.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
We'll come back to that. We'll come back to that here in a little bit. So the other question I have about the oldies, I like to call them the oldies because they're much older than me. Did the remaster help them?
So
did the remaster
help
I
the
guess I'm
movies?
I don't think it outright hurts them. I do think that because they use some dated CG now, like you watch, like when they go into Mos Eisley, you're kind of like, oh, but then you have stuff like in Empire, like when you see Bespin, when you see Cloud City, and instead of it all being like closed walls, they did like these cool window murals that have like traffic outside, and like it looks super alive compared to the originals. So I don't think it hurt it overall. I think that there are aspects that took away from it that, well, I should say, that didn't help it. But I love some of the little things. I even love like the enhanced like Death Star explosion. I love that big ring that goes around in the enhanced editions, like how that looks.
Fun fact about that actually, in high school. Fun fact about that actually, in high school, we did oil paintings. And my oil painting was an X-wing flying away from that explosion.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I have it somewhere. I'm gonna have to find that.
Hang it up.
Yeah, maybe I will. It's not a bad idea. Add to the wall. Add to the wall. Colton, what do you think about the remasters? Do you think that remastering those movies actually did better for them, or do you think it? I don't really know that it made it worse, obviously, but
Yeah, I don't think it makes it worse. I think if anything, I think it's just used to help the younger audiences, like the kids who were born in the 2000s on up. It kind of gives it a little bit more. I feel like it takes a little bit of that nostalgia out of the bad CGI and the bad. I mean, just how they had to do stuff back in the day in order to make those shots work.
Yeah.
And I don't think. I guess I've never really thought about it, so I guess no would be
Okay.
my answer.
it was a question that I thought up for some reason today when I was thinking about it, and they remastered. Did they remaster the prequels too?
No,
They haven't.
I don't
Okay.
I don't think so. Not yet.
Oh no, is that what you think they're gonna do next?
I would not be surprised if they tried it, to be honest. I think, like you said, with the CG being outdated, I don't know if that was something, even if they did like a re-release on Disney Plus or something, if they would want to remaster it when they did that.
I
like-
bet there are edits on Disney Plus that are changed because they
Probably.
changed a few things with originals. I bet there might be already.
All right, so let's talk about the prequels a little bit. Now that we've talked about the originals, and I like to call them the oldies, obviously. Yeah, so let's talk about Jar Jar Binks. No, I'm just kidding. Our favorite character.
I want the controversial one and say I absolutely hate Jar Jar Binks. I can tolerate him. I think he can get annoying at a while, but I'm not one of the people that's like Jar Jar Binks ruins Wars hashtag Jar Jar. Like I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't. It's like I watched that movie as a kid when it came out in the theaters, so for me, like that didn't bother me because it was the Ewoks of my generation. And in the Clone Wars, I don't want to get ahead of anything, but Jar Jar has a couple decent moments in the Clone Wars animated series. But yeah, I don't think he's Star Wars, like the greatest character in Star Wars by any means.
Yeah.
But
well, and I would say Darth Maul might be one of my favorite characters ever in Star Wars, and I wish that he would have never came in the sequels because, and like you said, we grew up watching them. It was our generation of Star Wars. The same thing we've talked about with Batman, how there's a Batman for every generation. There's pretty much a Star Wars trilogy for every generation right now. And
yeah,
I think everybody that has lived through a generation of it has a favorite character. And I wish Darth Maul would have been like only in, was it the Clone Wars that he was in? No, he's in Rebels, right?
he's in both.
He's in both. Okay. So
Yeah, because he spoilers for those of you who haven't watched the Clone Wars. He takes over Mandalore.
Yeah, right on.
But at least at some point, he's part of the Mandalore conflict.
Yeah. So I wish that they would have just waited on him. I know he was a great bad guy, great villain in the first one. And
I mean, yeah, but not. I mean, we like him. He's kind of like a Boba Fett in a way, right? Like he looks super bad to the bone. We actually get to see him be bad to the bone, right? Like he kills one of the main Jedi of the movie.
Yeah.
But like he says like 3 lines and he's only on the screen a couple of times.
Yeah, most
But,
of the time
like,
he's just a little pop up.
he's like, "Yes, master, right away."
Yeah.
He's like the German Shepherd of the junkyard. Like, Palpatine's just sending him out to chase people down.
Yeah.
But he's awesome.
Yeah.
He is.
I always loved his lightsaber. I think that's what really drew you to him. The double blades. And
seeing like his aesthetic with that too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was the whole thing.
Yep. I didn't really take a whole lot of notes on the prequels just because I haven't watched them in a long time. I don't really ever really plan on watching them. Maybe, a couple years down the road, but yeah, they're good movies for what we watched when we were kids. And like you said, Jar Jar didn't really affect me when I was younger because I was pretty young when they came out. So he was more just funny to me at that point. And now I watch it back and I'm like, ugh, cringe.
Yeah, same. I felt that way too with Jar Jar. It took me a while to understand the hatred towards him. But at the beginning, I was such a young kid. I was like, "Oh, funny character."
Yeah.
He stepped in poop.
Yeah, he's an idiot. Okay.
I electrocuted my tongue.
Yeah, but don't you think Jar Jar's a little okay? I know, I know we're all Marvel fans, but don't you feel like Jar Jar's a little bit of like that Marvel flavor in Star Wars? Like Marvel's like, we're just gonna put the dopiest stuff up on screen sometimes to try to get a laugh.
Yeah.
Like they do it a little bit. They do. But.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if Star Wars was actually trying for that. It just came off that way. They just came off that way, and they're like, you know what? I think we're gonna roll with this.
Yeah. Well, as far as the prequels go, besides Darth Maul and Jar Jar, I watched them probably, I don't know how recently I would say. I would say within the last couple of years, I've rewatched them, partially due to watching the Clone Wars animated series. And I'm going to say that I do think that the Clone Wars, as in like Attack of the Clones, the second, the prequels, is like the weakest. It's got the corniest lines, you know. It's got your like, hold me like you did by the lakeside on Naboo, like, and like these things that were just kind of like odd. It has like the awesome Coliseum thing and like the introduction of the clones, but like most of the movie is like you get a couple of neat moments. You get a really obsessed Anakin that you almost are like kind of creeper vibes more than like romantic vibes sometimes, and so I think that movie is far, I think, the weakest. I think that even though you had Jar Jar in episode 1, you also had like the droid army introduced. You had Naboo and like Padme, and like that was kind of a cool culture and part. You had pod racing.
Pod racing is awesome.
The pod racer 64 game and stuff, man. Like good stuff. I would love for them to, you know, Resistance, the animated series is like about racing starfighting ships like near planet side. Like they could make a pod racing show and it would probably be pretty cool if they did it right. You know, just give it to Filoni. He'd make it something special.
Oh yeah.
But in the Phantom Menace, you also have like you have Darth Maul, you have the Duel of Fates, which is probably the coolest Star Wars song ever made. You know, when it kicks in, everybody's like, "Oh my gosh!" You know.
Yeah.
So, and you even have like that droid marching, dun 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 dun. It's cool stuff. So, I mean, I'm Menace at it a lot. And then I'm in this little part of my opinion was saying that Revenge of Sith at midnight before they started doing early shows my senior year in high school, because we were like, this could be the last Star Wars movie they put, like this finished the story, right? And so a buddy of mine, we went on our school night and watched it, the whole thing, like 2+ hours long, at midnight, and it was awesome. And you know, that movie actually has some really good stuff in it. But I'll say, when you watch the Clone Wars, if you watch the entirety of the Clone Wars and then finish it by watching Revenge of the Sith, the fall of Anakin Skywalker, after you've spent 7 seasons watching him as a Jedi and watching that insidious influence that's been like dogging at him, and like how he's slowly been changing even though he's being manipulated, like his tragic end is like amplified 100-fold when you watch that and watch it. And I actually got emotional like watching it fall in the end and watching him like and Kenobi fight after seeing that in the Clone Wars, seeing their brotherhood. Like it felt so heavy, and so like that actually feels pretty good now. I actually really appreciate that sequel.
Yeah, you mentioned Duel of Fates, and when the trailer came out for Obi-Wan, and they hit Duel of Fates, and it's like, oh, that is. And we had this whole conversation about nostalgia in the last episode, and I know everybody heard us hit on that and how much we love that. But man, that was just pure nostalgia, straight back to the Phantom Menace, and you're just like, ooh, it almost gave me goosebumps. It was so loud and just right there in your face, and you knew exactly what it was when you heard it. It was just, yeah, that's good stuff. Good stuff. We did kind of hit on the sequels a little bit. I know you talked a little bit about kind of how, I don't want to say how bad they were, but how much they were just kind of there, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything you want to say about the sequels, or anything that like really stuck out to you, or was like good, bad? Colton, Chris?
I mean, the music, I think obviously the music was my favorite part of the whole thing. I did though believe that when I saw the Phantom Menace that this was the quote unquote beginning of the end of the Star Wars, because it was going to start from Anakin as a young child getting to, at some point in time, he's walking on to the ship to go get Leia. Like that's where I knew where the story was going. So I was always curious to see, and I've actually grown up. I know the second one gets the business a lot, and it deserves it. It deserves it for the most part. But I grew to appreciate that movie because I lost my mom, not like obviously not like Anakin lost his mother, but the losing of your mother and that emotional journey he goes through, I could relate and have those feelings that he was feeling. So I've got a different appreciation. I'm still saying it's not the best one out of all of them, but I just see it from a different point of view because I feel like I can relate to that anger and that passion that he has. And then when he gets to Revenge of the third one, I can't think of it right now.
You're right, Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, Revenge of the Sith. It's escaped my mind. When it got to that, he's almost bartering with anybody who will sell him a bill of goods on anything, if it is to save the one he loves most. That he could have saved his mother if he would have had this quote unquote training. And I can relate to that being, if I had the special cure to save my mom, I would have done it, and at all cost. I would have definitely gone down his route 100%, maybe even more harder than him. But I think it's just that different perspective, a little bit. Oh, they were done. If it's
I'm coming, Mom.
Yes, exactly. So I think I have a different perspective because I've had a different life experience than most.
Yeah.
But I mean, for the most part, the second one still is awful. It does bring up the clones. I did like that introduction.
And Jango Fett.
Yeah,
Fett
yeah,
is awesome. Yeah, for sure.
And then I mean, they just. And this is one thing that I kind of like about what Star Wars does and what Marvel's not doing very well, is that when Star Wars goes, I call it going back to the well, they go back to the well, but they enhance it when they bring it back. They don't just bring it back to bring it back. And I think that's one thing that Star Wars has done really well with the Disney Plus series. My favorite, obviously, a Phantom Menace, the scene at the end, Qui-Gon, that whole battle scene, the music, it just is great. And then I love the fallout between Obi-Wan and Anakin in Revenge of the Sith at the very end. And the heart, I think Obi-Wan went through more pain than what Anakin ever did during that entire fight, even though Anakin lost pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, with how you like score music, the Anakin Obi-Wan fight also, that score is phenomenal. Like it is. It's kind of Duel of the Fates kind of thing, but it's like it actually kind of has echoes of that in it. Which I don't know if you ever saw the interview with Dave Filoni, but the reason Duel of the Fates is Duel of the Fates is it's actually the duel of Anakin Skywalker's fate. So like that whole premise is that they're fighting over eventually whether he'll go down the good or the evil path, you know. Which is, I thought that was really cool. That was a cool insight.
Yeah, I feel like I could get there with that because, you know, that's really what the whole story was about, is which way is Anakin going to go down with everything that's been placed in front of him, because he's got every reason to go to the dark side, and then he's got every reason to stay with the Force and that kind of light.
Oh, I know that this podcast there's like a time limit, but I just have to say, have you seen the Disney Leader comic? Shows that Palpatine is Anakin's dad.
Huh?
So you know how she's like he had no father, he had all these midi-chlorians, and there's this scene. I actually own the graphic novel, The Trade, and like he's reliving his life, and his mom is standing there, and she's got like her hand on his stomach, and Palpatine's in the back, like, ooh, like he used the Force to impregnate her.
Oh,
I mean, this sounds like stories straight out of the Bible.
But
At this
dude,
point
you
in
realize
time.
then that awkward kiss that should have never been in the movie between Ben Solo and Rey, they're related.
all right, guys, that's the end of the pod.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good. Let's do it. Let's hit on the Skywalkers, the 3 sequel movies, the Rey movies. I just want to ask your favorite character throughout those movies, because I know storyline and stuff we're not really that into them, so I don't want to hit on too heavily because we are cutting it pretty long here. So I want to move on because I know
Star
there's
Wars
some
is
stuff.
so big. Like
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about it. There's just so much in it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do 2 episodes, part 2 of episode 3. So yeah, who is your favorite character in all of the sequel movies, the Rey movies, the Skywalkers? That's a stumper, I guess.
Do you have one?
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
gonna straight
Why
up.
don't you go first then?
Okay, I'll go
while
first.
we're thinking.
Okay, I'm gonna say Poe Dameron, and I think the pilot aspect of Star Wars is something that goes through every single Star Wars movie, and most of the time it's a main character. Anakin obviously wanted to be a pilot; that was his thing. Luke was always about being a pilot, and then you get Poe Dameron, who already is that pilot, and Han Solo even was a pilot for the most part. Did Kessel Run in 12 parsecs? But I mean, there's that feeling of just seeing somebody, and flying is one of those things that's just so out there, and like you never think like I could just fly a plane. Like there's so much that goes into flying something, and although it's a starship, I mean it's still really cool. And I thought Poe Dameron had like the best like build up as a character in general, and I just really liked him. Plus I like the actor that plays him, and I can't place his name right now. I know one of you probably can.
Yeah, Moon Knight came out tonight, I guess.
What?
Yeah, they dropped a trailer today. Stream Moon Knight tonight.
No.
Yeah, oh no.
No.
Yeah.
It's Tuesday.
I was gonna say, is it like no pun intended, but is it like a midnight drop?
Oh, it is. Oh, it is.
The Midnight Moon Knight.
Yeah. But yeah, Poe Dameron.
Yeah.
What is his name? What's the actor's name?
Excellent question.
Okay.
I mean, I can pull it up if you want me to here.
No, that's all right. You know what? We'll just go without it. It's okay.
Perfect.
Poe
That's
Dameron.
what we like to do.
Yeah. What do you guys got?
Man, I can't think of one. Like, I mean, I don't know how to say. I mean, Simon Pegg does a couple voiceovers.
Oh my gosh.
we could get into the Cornetto trilogy, another podcast, but
Oh,
Oh
man,
my
I just
gosh.
I love Simon Pegg.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
oh, there we go. We've got
Edgar
another
Wright
episode
movies.
going.
We could talk about Edgar Wright anyway.
So
Yeah.
me and my buddies, me and my friends, I got a couple other friends that we watched Shaun of the Dead the first time, and then Hot Fuzz, and
I love
at
Hot
World's End, and we got talking about it, and we call it the Cornetto trilogy. And I went to Ireland a couple years ago. Like I got back right when COVID shut everything down, and the first thing I did, we went to a gas station, and it was like 9 o'clock in the morning, and I went and I found a Cornetto ice cream cone, and bought it and ate it, and I kept the wrapper, and I brought it back for him.
Uh,
Oh my gosh.
so I would say my favorite. I was thinking Poe Dameron potentially as well. I like the pilot aspect. I always think that goes back to any kind of even like World War II, World
Yeah.
War I, World War II movies. It's always cool when they have fighter pilots. Movies like Top Gun, like those characters are always really cool. So I think Poe is definitely he's definitely up there. But I will say one minor character that I think is fun is I think BB-8's actually a really fun droid. I think he was good at touching on that kind of R2 love that so many people have had so many years.
Yeah.
And then to be honest, I actually really like Kylo Ren's story arc. Where Rey really doesn't have a story arc. She's just kind of who she is the whole time. She always does really well. She pilots well. She can already use the Force against somebody who's been trained by Luke Skywalker. She's, what I mean? Like, there's all this stuff. Like Ben really, he forsakes his solo Skywalker lineage, and when really that's what he is. He is the heir to the Skywalker lineage.
Yeah.
And he goes through this whole story arc of redemption, kind of like Vader, because he glorifies Vader and vilifies his parents and Luke. And I love by the end that changes. He actually goes through that arc, and you get to see that. And I felt like he had some good character moments several times throughout the movie, even though sometimes he's just angry and swinging lightsabers around. But I also, one of the things that upset me the most in the final movie, Rise of the Skywalker, is when you have that Force Ghost moment at the end, and she sees them on Tatooine, where you assume she's at. I felt really cheated that Ben wasn't there, because he's actually one of the Skywalkers. And I thought it would be, I actually felt like they really dropped the ball, because they could have actually done like a Skywalker family portrait. They could have had like Anakin and Luke and Leia and Ben. And and they could have had like a Skywalker moment for a movie named Rise of the Skywalker, and they didn't do it. And I was like, wow. And even my wife, who's like, she likes Star Wars, but she's not the way I am. She actually expected that too. She thought it was kind of weird. So
Yeah, I feel like, to double down on your point, is that I felt like these movies were more about Ben than they were about Rey.
oh yeah,
Because of that fact right there, because of the just the character arc of him and what he goes through, and how it just seems like the movie was, it's definitely seems like it was geared towards him being the lead guy and not Rey being it. Because you're right, it was a little frustrating that, she just, oh, I'm happen to be good at everything. Like, oh, that's awesome. So I would say, outside of Simon Pegg, of course, and his like 5 lines he has.
Give you 2 shillings.
Oh my! But yeah, the character arc there, I think, was probably one of the best highlighted aspects of the trilogy. So,
All right, Chris, let's make the jump. The hyperspeed. Bad pun.
I'm waiting. This
I
is
know
where
it-
I go, Gunner, punch it.
Yeah. Yeah. I know you want to talk. I know you want to talk. That is just the most random thing that's going to be in this podcast. I know you want to talk about them. The animated series shows.
Oh, okay. I can keep it brief.
Yeah, let's keep that one a little brief because we have 3 other shows I want to talk about. And then I have a question for you guys. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you want me to say about the animes? They're very good.
Next.
So you kind of hit it on already with some of the characters that are crossing over, and a lot of these characters like Darth Maul, and you're getting Anakin and Ahsoka and all these characters in those shows that are going to be in shows or have already been in shows. And I know you have some really big theories on what might happen in Obi-Wan and what has happened in Book of Boba and The Mandalorian.
Yeah. So with Kenobi, with the first trailer, if you watch Rebels, one thing that Filoni's been doing is looking for opportunities to bring in these characters he created in the animated series and bring them to life. And Ahsoka was super cool to see. We've seen Cad Bane now, which was awesome. Fennec Shand, it was actually also in the Bad Batch, but she was in Mando first. But they've been doing all these crossover parts. And I will say that I just read this week. I don't follow a lot of Star Wars news directly, but like if it's in a feed, I'll glance over it. But Sabine Wren, the Mandalorian, who's in Rebels, she's one of the main characters. She's actually one of the main characters that said in the Ahsoka show, and so that takes place obviously like at least I would think a decade or more after Rebels. Because if it takes place after Mando's supposed to be like 7 years after Return of the Jedi, and Rebels takes place before A New Hope. So I mean, probably about a decade or so, I would imagine. I haven't like checked the timeline, but anyway, they have her cast already for Ahsoka. One of my favorite characters of all Star Wars extended universe is Grand Admiral Thrawn. And so he's in Rebels. I haven't seen him yet. I like him in his novels that they've written. But he's also going to be like possibly the main bad in Ahsoka. But in Kenobi, because it takes place a little before Rebels, Kanan Jarrus, the Jedi from Rebels, is also the Jedi that escaped Order 66 in the Bad Batch. You see it happen in the very beginning episode of the Bad Batch, and there's a pretty strong chance that they could bring him in. And by the way, he's voiced by Freddie Prinze Jr. And even though Freddie Prinze is way too old to do it now, it would be so funny to see them bring him in. But they won't do that. But like the trailer for Kenobi, it shows the Grand Inquisitor, who is from Rebels and from the Vader comics. It shows a couple of the other Inquisitors from Rebels, and so that the alleyway scene, right? There's this like freeze frame of a guy holding a blaster standing across from an Inquisitor, and I think it's Cad Bane. I think that they introduced Cad Bane in the Book of Boba Fett, just like they had Ahsoka in Mandalorian, and then they brought her into the Book of Boba Fett. And I think that they introduced Cad Bane because they're going to bring him back in Kenobi because he's established now. And being the bounty hunter that he is, he and Kenobi fight a couple times in the Clone Wars series. And so I think it would be awesome to see him helping the Inquisitors hunt him down. And I think it could be Obi-Wan. Some people think it's him like in disguise, but I don't think that really makes as much sense. And I mean, if they need somebody to hunt a Jedi, who better than someone who's done it before?
Yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, so they're great series. They're not really for kids. I know they're animated. The first like half of the Clone Wars series is rough. Yeah, it's not as good. But when you're dealing with like the soldiers, the boots on the ground stuff, like the questions of our clones people and things like that, the show's it can really fire on all cylinders. And Rebels is a fun show that just taps into the magic of the original trilogy that gets to look at a little bit more of the wider universe in it. My wife and I are watching that right now. We're in season 2, and I've really enjoyed it. And some of the books I've been reading actually reference stuff that's in that show. So like they're like doing the whole universe. Like they take what Marvel kind of does, and I feel like they've like exploded with it with how they cross stuff over. But
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. There's your breakdown, Colton. That's Chris
Yeah,
has
I was gonna
watched.
say I tried to get into Clone Wars because I have another buddy who's probably you and him could have a really good conversation because he loves the animated series and he's super pumped for Ahsoka. And I watched like the first 2 seasons of Clone Wars and I'm like I don't know if I could put myself through this anymore.
Yeah.
yeah, so I didn't intently watch every episode.
Mm.
When I was painting one of my Star Wars board games, I had it on like on a tablet next to me. But then like when like major stuff would happen, I like major episodes, I would stop and I would like watch that story arc and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
I know we're getting crunched on time here, but you just said you painted your Star Wars game board. I feel like that needs more clarification, and please elaborate.
I play a game called Star Wars Imperial Assault, where I play the Empire usually, which is kind of like the DM role, and the other players play like the heroes.
Okay.
And so because I will show you. I will show you one of.
I made Chris bring this out because
So
it's amazing.
This is like an ATST that I painted. You can't see it that well, right? But it's pretty cool. It's a big guy. Like he's size of your hand, right? But
Yeah.
then like
That's
I have
better
like
than I can do.
well, I have
Oh,
like
man.
little people, right? Like the normal size, they're a lot smaller and stuff. But yeah,
Yeah, he does some good work. He's brought them into work, and man,
It's-
they look so good. So
I don't have
good.
like a camera set up to really show that, but
Yeah. So since we're talking about Obi-Wan, I have a question for you guys. What are your expectations for Obi-Wan? What do you want to see the most? I guess is more of the question I want to ask.
I want to see him transform into old Ben. That's what I want to see. No, I think my thing is how does he? Because I was always worried as like, man, this is gonna be like some weird stalker series. Like he's just gonna be like hanging out behind little rocks, be like, oh, wonder what Luke's doing. Oh, hey Luke. Oh, hey. Like I wonder if they ever interact or if he interacts with May, Luke's parents. Like, I wonder if he interacts with them because I'm assuming what they're gonna do is they're gonna, he's gonna thwart off some people who are coming after Luke, who know who Luke is, and he's going to get in the way of said confrontation. I would say, I want fresh, I want new, I just hope we don't, you know, I just want something different. I mean, I know where the story starts and I know obviously where the story ends. It's just I hope they don't go back too much to the well for ideas or for characters, and I'm always up for something new, especially with the Star Wars universe. There's so much stuff that I mean that can still happen that we don't know. So
Yeah. Chris?
I just want to see Obi-Wan wander around thinking he's doing something useful, when really he's listening to like a hallucination of Qui-Gon telling him to like do all these things, and he's really like he's lost his mind. That's what I want to know.
That could be where this
like-
goes.
Dude, wouldn't that be like a dark take on Obi-Wan?
Yeah.
No, I first off, some people say that they want to see like a rematch between Obi-Wan and Darth Maul, but that happens in later seasons of Rebels. I haven't seen it yet, but I know it's there. So I don't think they're gonna do that. And plus, he's like old Ben in Rebels, like he's white-haired and stuff. But they've already said that Vader's gonna be in it, and the Inquisitors report to Vader, and like Hayden Christensen is coming back as Darth Vader, and it would be interesting to see if they ever have a meetup. I think that could be interesting depending how they handle it. But yeah, I mean, I really I think it's just going to be a lot of like what you said, Colton. I think it's going to be him protecting Luke. I could see that being like a big part of it. And it's going to be him kind of dodging the Inquisitors at the same time. And so I don't know. I don't have a lot of expectation. I feel like the trailer shows me that we get Inquisitors. We're going to get Vader and possibly his temple on Mustafar or something. That'd be cool.
Mhm.
And we're gonna get to see like what Obi-Wan was really doing all those years out there. And that's enough for me to anticipate, like hoping if with how good everything else has been. I mean, okay, I know Book of Boba Fett hit or miss at times,
Mhm.
but like I look forward to this. I think they could really keep it fairly simple and still do something really engaging. And that's just what I hope it is. I hope they bring in some more animated people too. That wouldn't be too bad, but it looks like they're already bringing several.
Yeah, I think that would be cool to see a lot of those characters come over. I don't want to see a bunch of flashbacks. I think that's what killed Book of Boba.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I wouldn't mind a couple. I wouldn't mind a couple at all. Like seeing stuff between, what happened at the end of Revenge of the Sith to now would be okay.
Yeah, I guess it's been like 9 or 10 years, right?
It's been a while. I think it's 9. I
Yeah.
think they said 9. I'm excited to see if they do anything with a young Luke. I think that would be kind of cool. Whether they show us some little things, because I mean we saw young Anakin. Why not see young Luke? I think that would be kind of cool.
Oh, what if they show him like discovering
Shooting.
some force powers or something? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
I want to see him shooting some of those
Womp
animals.
rats.
Yes,
Womp
I want to
rats.
see. I want to
I've
see
got-
that.
It's no harder than shooting womp rats in my T16 back home in Beggars Canyon.
Exactly.
Beggar-
That's
Beggars
that's what
Canyon.
I want to see. I want to see Beggars Canyon.
Dude, yeah.
I would
The
love to
pod race
see.
goes through Beggars Canyon.
That would be cool if he was like working on a pod racer too. That would be something that would be.
I think Mando, when he flies his Naboo starfighter, I think he flies through Beggars Canyon. Actually,
Yeah, he does.
I
He
think
does. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Right where those
But anyway,
those pod races were. Yeah, I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a really good show. I'm actually think I'm more excited for Ahsoka. I think that's going to be a really good show. Maybe we should do a top 10 Star Wars.
Oh,
Colton,
jeez, I'd have to
make
I'd
an
have to
Excel
wa-
sheet, buddy.
I'd have to start watching them. Is what I'd
Yeah.
have to do.
We'll get Kristen on that one too.
I'd
Yeah,
send
I've
someone.
never done
I'd
that.
send someone in my place.
Right on.
I know exactly who I'd send.
All right, you guys ready for this question? I think this is a cool question. I actually thought of it today while I was getting ready to leave work, and I was like, you know what? I think this is a cool question. What is your best Star Wars memory?
Oh.
So growing up, Chris, I don't know where'd you grow up, Chris? Did you grow up in Milford or?
I mean, like when I was younger, I grew up in Goshen and New Paris area mostly.
Okay, so
Yeah,
kind of
so like
New Paris.
local town. Yeah.
Yeah, New Paris is definitely small town. Goshen
Oh, yeah.
is obviously bigger, but I mean, Gunnar, we both grew up just minutes down the road from each other.
Yep.
Not a whole lot of stuff to do where we grew up. Warsaw was 15 minutes. Plymouth was 15 minutes. At least from my house, probably less for you. But going to the movies was always a big thing that me and my dad got to do. And we went and we made it a little guys' night for every of the prequel movies that came out, going to see Phantom Menace and then Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. So having that memory of just spending time with my dad, and hopefully with my son, I get to take him to movies, and hopefully that's where he can get his love for movies is at the
Mhm.
theater. I just think having that time in those moments with my dad, because I know we went to some bad movies, and it was just me and him in there. Like, that's how bad these movies were. And that's like third week, and he's like, "Oh, you want to go see this movie? Yeah, I'll go see it." I think that's just where my love of the theater started, was with this series, and how it almost kind of, I want to say prioritized, but it's like get excited. This movie's coming out. We got to go see it opening night or opening weekend. Like,
Yeah.
like I think that's kind of what my favorite thing is about them. Is it kind of gave me that love of the theater, and it has absolutely nothing to do with Star Wars.
I mean, they kind of influenced that
Exactly.
your love for the
Yeah.
theater, yeah, which I think George Lucas did for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. What about you? Do you wanna answer first?
So I have a lot of Star Wars memories.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, and I told my dad we were talking about Star Wars today, and we were talking about it a little bit, and he was talking about how he took me and my brother to see all the prequels, and how he went with my grandma to see all the prequels. But really, I know that my best Star Wars memory is coming, and that's going to be Disney in August, and I am so excited to go and see everything that Disney has done, and I've heard really good things, but I think the one thing is building a lightsaber and building a droid. I'm it's just one of those things I know I'm going to cherish that for the rest of my life, and I'm something that's going to be on my wall in my office for the rest of my life. So yeah, I have a ton of good memories from the past, but I think I'm going to make some better ones coming up here soon. So
Okay, so I don't know. I kind of have some brief ones. I won't go into depth because I want to share just a couple instead of like one longer one. One is kind of like you, Colton. My dad, like I said earlier, took me to go see the re-releases of the original trilogy in the 90s because he had seen the originals in theater. And my dad, he was born in 49, and so he's a bit older. And he had like an old knockoff lightsaber that was like a flashlight with this thing attached to it that they made back then. and I always thought that was super cool. I have a funny memory of being backstage during a musical. I think it was my senior year, and I had like some Walmart, like the Count Dooku and Anakin lightsabers that they came out with for like Revenge of the Sith, like the light up sound effect ones, and we were straight up like fighting backstage during scenes. We were like, "Oh, our part's coming up. Got to put the lightsaber down." But one really fond memory that I have right now, one that broke my heart, was my daughter saying, "Dad, I just don't know if I really like Star Wars." But my 9-year-old, but she doesn't know yet. I told her we're gonna have like we're gonna try. But if
There's
she doesn't,
hope.
she doesn't. Right? That's the theme of Star Wars. There's always hope.
Exactly.
But my son, my 3-year-old son, sometimes I actually turned Star Wars on the other day, and I think it was A New Hope, and he was digging it, man. Like he kind of sat and was watching it, even though it's not super engaging to somebody that age. And he was like stopping and watching. He sat with me for a little bit, and he was checking it out. And he loves seeing droids now. He's like, "Oh, Dad, robots!" And then and also, since I have this Boba Fett helmet, he loves to wear it and run around in it. And so when the Book of Boba Fett was on, because he calls the helmet hat, like he'll go, "Oh, wear hat." He saw Boba Fett on screen and he goes, "Oh, Dad, hat." And so he calls Boba Fett hat. That's what he calls him.
Oh my god,
That's awesome.
He's like, "Oh, it's hat." And then when Cad Bane showed up in the Book of Boba Fett, my son turned and looked at me and he goes, "Oh, bad guy."
oh my gosh.
So right now, like that combo of my dad instilling it in me and really digging it. I had some Star Wars Lego sets too. I had like Anakin's Pod Racer Lego set when Episode 1 came out.
Oh yeah, had those.
And now I'm kind of already, even though he's only 3, I'm kind of letting my son, against my better judgment, because it's not a 3-year-old's movie, but he's starting to get into it already. I can see it. Like he likes to. We watch like the Lego Freemaker thing on Disney and things like that, and he kind of digs it, and I love that. It gives me like a really special feeling. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
I feel like the common theme here is it's something that our dads got us into, and it was just it's that bonding moment you get to have with your son. And I feel like I know I'll pass it down to my son when he's old enough to, when he's old enough to watch, and I'm sure Gunnar, and it sounds like Chris, you already have. It's just that's what the Star Wars generation. I mean, just the Star Wars saga. It's something that it gives something to families to like bond over. And I think that's one of the things that I don't know if George Lucas was trying to accomplish when he first set out and made Star Wars, but I mean he really did make it a way for a family to bond, not just necessarily a father and a son, but
hmm
it just I wonder if he knew that going into it how influential it was going to be to those relationships.
I mean, look at my dad, my grandma being the big Star Wars fan she is. I mean, she took him to every release and he took us to every release. I mean, and like you said, it's going to be something that I do as just movies in general. I mean, not just
Mhm.
Star Wars, but my I really hope my kids love movies as much as I do because
Yeah.
I want them to, and I don't want to force it on them, but it's going to get forced on them.
And I mean,
Dad, can you take me to this game? No, we're watching
Star
a
Wars.
movie.
Star Wars is like about a father and son ultimately, right? Like
Yeah.
the original
Yeah.
trilogy. And even like the new trilogy, like Disney kind of went back to that with Ben and Han Solo, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, maybe that's because that's part of the echo that we've all experienced. They know that's part of it. Uh and yeah, that's I mean, it's cool to think that it's like a familial thing at that point.
Yeah.
In the novels, in the original expanded universe novels where Timothy Zahn continued Star Wars, like in the original canonical trilogy that came after Return of the Jedi, um, there's a whole thing about Leia being called Lady Vader by this one species that honored Darth Vader, and they know that she is his daughter. And so, like even in those, like the offspring thing continues,
Yeah.
and she's pregnant with like her children in that, and it's like it's a theme of Star Wars, and it transcends into the people who view it. I think.
Yeah. Well, guys, this has been really fun. Like a lot. This has been a ton of fun. It really has. Chris, I wanna thank you. I know it was last minute, but I'm glad that you were able to put it together and come on and
Me
talk
too.
to
I'm
us.
glad.
too.
I'm glad to have met you, Chris. I hope this isn't the last time.
Yeah.
But it was a great get to know you for the amount of time we had, and I'm excited to do more of these with you.
Absolutely. We'll have to start doing three-way calls when you guys call each other for new movies.
We might make it that Thursday call when Gunnar and I talk about we talk about
Oh, man.
whatever Disney Plus came out on Wednesdays.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to get back together once Kenobi's up and rolling or something.
Yeah. Just do an episode. Maybe towards the end we'll just do a review of the whole season. I think that'd be fun.
That's actually a really good idea.
Yeah.
I'd be down.
Yeah. Chris, thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I had fun.
fine. Yeah. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, yes, you will. It was nice to meet you, Colton. and
Yes.
I'm sure it won't be the last time. So take
Yes.
care,
Always a
guys.
pleasure, sir. Always a pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. See you guys.
See ya.
See ya.
That was
and
fun.
Then there were two. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was fun. Definitely killed it on time, man.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
hungry. I'll be honest, I am hungry.
Yeah. I'm gonna let you go eat.
Let's plug.
Let's
plug.
do it. Every
Go,
We're gonna
go, go,
plug.
go, 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 go.
We're on it. Hey guys, thanks for listening to the whole episode. If you made it to this point, I know it was long, but it was fun to talk about Star Wars and our love for Star Wars. We all have, it's been a big part of all of our lives and we really enjoy it. And I know our parents, our grandparents, they all loved it too. So if you want to listen to us, you can find us on Facebook. That's facebook.com/the call guys pod. Colton's pointing at me.
I know. I think I might just make it my thing.
If you go to our Facebook page, I have our link tree posted. It'll take you everywhere you want to listen to us. You can get us wherever you get your podcasts. That is Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, anywhere you want to get your podcasts. Also, check out Golden Image Podcast. Golden J is actually going to be bringing back some old Golden Image radio episodes, which one it aired
Snap.
this past Thursday. So go check that out.
We should have had the Emperor on.
We will. Episode 10, guys. When we get around to episode 10, I'm going to bring Colton down to the studio and we're going to do an episode with Golden J, the Emperor, as Colton likes to call him. And we're going to talk about TV shows, I think, in that episode. and some of our favorites. I think that'll be a fun episode with my dad, Golden J. So yeah, check out Golden Image Podcast, facebook.com/Golden Image Podcast, and also the Murd Nerds Podcast. It's a true crime podcast based solely out of unsolved murders in Indiana. They're really good. That's facebook.com/Murd Nerds.
Murd Nerds.
And Colton, I want to thank you for sticking it out with me on this one. And Chris has so much knowledge of Star Wars.
Oh, I
and
could tell.
he
He is just a fountain of it, and it's
Yeah.
nothing bad. I'm
Oh,
just
it's-
hungry.
It's so it's so fun to listen to him talk. So,
I
guys,
agree.
thanks for sticking it out. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next
Yes.
time.
Grate me in the mouth. Yes.
I absolutely love Miley Cyrus.
The sickest knife ever.
Hey.